us. Right now we're going to move on with a look at what's grabbing the newspaper headlines here in France with Catherine Viette. Hi there.
Okay.
And we're going to start off with some French political news that's all over the headlines, isn't it? We've got the opposition Les Republicains, the Conservative Party, gearing up for next year's general election. And first stop, they've been holding their summer conference, end of summer, really.
That's right. They held it over the weekend in La Boule, and all the major party members were there, as you can expect. Nicolas Sarkozy, Alain Juppé. The press up to this point had been reporting that the tone of the campaigning and the primary had turned a bit nasty. So Le Figaro now is reporting that the message from this weekend's gathering was for the right was one of calming tensions and to try and put on a united front. They agreed to avoid attacking statements, and Sarkozy has promised not to fan the flames, while his main rival Alain Juppé has promised to stop personal attacks. And they've all agreed to debate ideas and not personal squabbles.
And how's that going down in the newspapers? People believing that? A bit more sceptical,
Right. Some of the
perhaps?
papers here, right, exactly, aren't so sure that, after this weekend, this pledge of unity and sort of, being nicer to each other is going to hold. Business-friendly paper L'Opinion says that, in fact, Sarkozy may only be paying lip service to this idea of a united front. And in his closing remarks in his speech on Sunday, he said that with division, the only thing that the party is building is in defeat. However, he managed to get in a few zingers against his main rival, Alain Juppé. Juppé had asked for a code of good conduct when he had spoke. Sarkozy dismissed that, saying he doesn't like codes. And if we're talking about codes, then there's already a problem. Le Parisien, too, is saying that Les Republicans haven't yet achieved unity here. The primary candidates still seem more interested in taking digs at each other than taking on the left or the socialist government.
And another figure that we've talked about quite a bit in the last couple of weeks here in France, the former economy minister, Emmanuel Macron. You'll remember he stepped down just a few days ago from the government. The press still following his movements with interest.
That's right. It seems that people are still digesting this kind of shock, surprise move by Macron in quitting the government. His name's still on everyone's lips. And according to an editorial cartoon in today's Libération, it's cause for a Macron overdose. And in the cartoon here, you can see images of Macron everywhere. A man has collapsed on the street along with his dog. And the doctor examining says that the cause is an overdose of Macron.
All right, well, let's not overdose ourselves. We'll move on from French politics to German politics. Electoral goings-on in Germany, very interesting to the newspapers just across the border here in France. This, what seems quite a big setback for Angela Merkel's Christian Democrats party in Mecklenburg, Western Pomerania.
Yes, that's right. Libération actually putting it on the front page of the paper. Here you can sort of see an image of Merkel sort of in the corner there, and it says the passing of the baton, the headline. The paper is reporting that the extreme right party, the AfD, or the Alternative for Germany, has dealt a crushing blow to the German Chancellor in her own backyard, says that she's been weakened by her refugee policy, which has been lauded by some as brave, but also highly criticized, and the paper is asking, in the course of this backlash from the election, can she stay the course? Now, the coverage continues. Inside the paper, big spread here with the headline, "A slap on Merkel's outstretched hand." Paper worries that the problems exposed by this regional election could threaten the whole of the European Union. Says that leaders of both Italy and France are facing elections that could be fatal. And Libération is concerned the German Chancellor could be tempted to procrastinate ahead of next year's elections in Germany, and this could open up a leadership crisis at a time when Europe is facing many challenges, including Brexit.
It's quite unusual, isn't it, for a regional election in a foreign country to get so many column inches in a foreign newspaper like the French ones. But people really asking those much bigger questions, like you say. We've got Slate as well, talking about specifically the impact on Merkel and the Christian Democrat Party.
Exactly. Wondering what is going to happen from this. Is this a bellwether for what could happen in next year's elections? And the headline here from the French edition of Slate is, in Germany, a small election, as we've been saying, they're just regional elections, destabilizes the most powerful woman in Europe. And the article goes on to say it's the first time that a far-right party has beaten the Christian Democrat Party. And now, just for a note, they didn't even come in second. They came in third. It was the Socialist Party who came in first, the far-right party second, and then Merkel's party third. And Slate points out that the far-right AfD is gaining popularity across Germany, not just in this region of Germany, and that this election, as I had mentioned, could be a bellwether for national elections next year, and that the outcome from this guarantees that more debate will surround the question of immigration.
All right, finally, we like to end on a high note. Unfortunately, we're ending on a bit of a sad note. Very bad news for some of the world's most endangered animals, even more endangered according to this new list that's come out.
Yes, Le Monde is reporting on the latest published. It's called a red list of the critically endangered species from the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Now, according to this list, nearly 83,000 animal and plant species are endangered. And among them, one of the most endangered is the eastern gorilla, which lives in parts of the Democratic Republic of Congo. And the report says they're only a step away from extinction. The main problem for them is a loss of natural habitat, also poaching. Orangutans, too, are on the brink of extinction. And then 2 other species of great apes, chimpanzees and bonobos, are now on the endangered list.
Such a lovely picture of such a beautiful animal there. Terrible news about that list. Thank you anyway for bringing us that roundup of the top stories in the French papers today. And Catherine will be back later on looking through the international press for us as well. Well, we're going to take a short break. More news coming up for you on the other side. Plus, how is China's economic slump impacting on people inside of China? Our reporters have been to a city that's dubbed Slow Down Ground Zero. Do stay tuned.